Have you found your dream home only to hear those dreaded words, "We are in a multiple offer situation"? It's heartbreaking, stressful, and can leave you wondering if you're ever going to find the right home. But what if I told you that there's a way to turn the odds in your favor? In this video, I'm sharing proven strategies to help you stand out and win in a bidding war without losing your sanity or your savings. So just stick around. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to make an offer that they can't refuse. Hi everyone, my name is Frig. I'm the team lead of Masterful Moves Realty Group, and welcome to this week's What the Frig Friday. Today we're going to be discussing multiple offers. In this seller's market, which means that there is more buyers than there are sellers, so therefore the sellers are going to be able to get a higher and top dollar for their property. So it is a seller's market because the market is favoring them. In this seller's market, we are seeing more and more multiple offers come with properties as there is more buyers than there are properties. So multiple offers happen quite often, and more often I am in multiple offers than I'm in not. So here are some proven strategies that can work in a multiple offer situation. First and foremost, if you are to have conditions, a condition is something on the contract that needs to be satisfied. Usually it's going to be your financing, property inspection, sale of your home if you need one, condo doc review if you're purchasing a condo. A condition is something that's on the contract that needs to get satisfied and then waived. So if you do need financing, making sure that you have that pre-approval letter with the contact information of your mortgage broker is going to be key for that condition, because a condition for the seller shows a little bit of risk. Right? There is a chance that you can back out because a condition has to be satisfied. And with financing, that is one for sure, because with the financing condition, there's steps to it. Did the mortgage broker, get all your documents and then vet your documents? So having that letter, pre-approval letter, is super important because it shows that you have already been vetted. And if there is a contact information for your mortgage broker on that letter, that's going to be great as well, because then the seller's realtor could have the opportunity to call and speak to your mortgage broker and have that conversation. And I have actually seen some mortgage brokers who will go the extra step as well and call the listing agent and say, hey, I'm going to do this step for my client to make sure that they win. So having that financial pre-approval and that letter and that contact information for your mortgage broker is definitely something that I speak to all my clients to if we are going to be needing that financing condition. And one of the things too that I state early on in the conversation, usually when I'm just chatting with someone, is, well, I'm searching for properties in tandem. Make sure that you are getting that pre-approval letter at the same time, because realtors, we're going to go start looking at properties right away with our clients, and most likely those properties are going to be in multiple offers. So the sooner that we can make sure that you're financially ready with a pre-approval letter, the better off we are. And another thing as well is have your realtor send the property to your mortgage broker as you're going to view it, so that you know that that property is going to be fit within your financials. And sometimes you can even get the addresses put right on your property or your financial letters as well, like the property address. My clients have been pre-approved for, 123 Banana Street. So that is something if we need to have a financing condition. Another thing that I like to always suggest is, if you were in the mind of the seller, what would be a deciding factor for you? Most often than not, price sells. If you can get a higher price for your property, would you take it for slightly more risk of other conditions? So kind of seeing how the seller might think of your offer in regards to what that looks like in being in a multiple offer. So a very strong offer price is definitely something that I see that wins quite frequently. It is going to be price sells. If they can get a couple extra $1,000 in their pocket, that might be what will sway them to choose that offer. Another thing as well is it doesn't have to be substantially more as well for your offer price, but even if it's, $900, we could potentially even offer that extra $100 to round it to the nearest thousand. But a strong offer price is something that most sellers, I think, lean towards if they can get that money in their pocket. Again, I was also chatting about, number 3 would be making it a clean offer. So again, in the first one, I discussed the financing conditions, but there's also an opportunity for terms. There's also an opportunity to have extra items potentially. So the cleaner the offer, the better. The less resistance that the seller is going to have in regards to that closing potentially could be why your offer would get picked over the other offers. So a cleaner offer. So potentially would be, accepting the title insurance if they're offering title insurance in lieu of a real property report and compliance. Because they're getting a real property report and city compliance, which is stated in the contract that they need to provide. If the seller is asking for the title insurance, it's just a cleaner thing for them. So having that as an accepted could be something that would be of benefit to the seller. Something that's going to be a path of least resistance. The cleaner the offer, the better. If we're adding things in terms such as cleaning the furnace, cleaning the ducts, cleaning carpets, things like that as well is just an extra thing that the seller needs to do. Repairs and maintenance, anything that we were asking the seller to do extra over and above might put our offer in a lower position because it's more things that they need to do. If we're going to add all these extra things, it's going to be less of a clean offer. Clean means that there's less items to be accomplished. The fourth one would be having a personal touch. So to accompany the offer, maybe you walked through it and you saw some, military items, or you're both moved here from Ontario or from BC or something like that. If we can add that personal touch to our offer, I have seen that has worked in some cases as well. In regards to if an offer A and offer B are quite similar, they might go to one that they've, that has that letter that really ties that in. They can emotionally attach to that buyer. I've had some as well where they wrote the letter, prices were really different, but the seller had three sons, the buyer had 3 sons. That was all they needed. They could really see how that property worked well for them with those 3 boys, and they wanted to continue that on. So price wasn't even a factor. That letter is what sold it for those sellers, having the 3 sons. So really having a personal touch could really help. And if you are really wanting to purchase, pulling out all the stops, family photos I've seen as well, anything that can really tie you and emotionally attach the seller, because if you are buying a property, it is an emotional thing for a lot of the sellers because it's where they've lived, it's their memories, it was a piece of them. So how can your offer maybe tie into that emotionality of what that means to them for selling their property, and how can we best do that? A personal touch. Another one would be, number 5 would be an escalation clause. So an escalation clause would read that my offer or the buyer's offer would be $1,000 more than the next offer up to X price, or my offer is going to be $5,000 more than the next offer up to what X amount, with proof, obviously, with proof shown to the realtor. So what an escalation clause means is you're going to put your highest and best foot forward, but it might not be to your max. Maybe you and your realtor have done a market analysis and you think the property is already slightly overpriced, but you are pre-qualified for more. So maybe you're going to put an offer in at slightly over what's listed, but you are pre-qualified for more. So maybe you put that escalation clause in. Another thing as well, because we're in such a multiple offer situation and reality around us, one of the things that I talk to my clients is if we're pre-qualified for $460, we probably shouldn't be looking at prices over $450, just because that gives us a $10,000 buffer in regards to this escalation clause, in regards to how we can win with multiple offers. So just being mindful of that as well. If you are up to $460, we're going to look at $450. If if you're for 410, we should look at 400. So that gives us that $10,000 where we can put a strong offer in for price, plus potentially have that escalation clause. Again, so an escalation clause is just an extra clause term in the contract that states that my offer is going to be over and above whatever the highest offer is going to be, up for X amount, up and above certain price. But proof needs to be provided so that they aren't just saying, hey, I got an offer for $2,000 more than yours. I'm going to, make your escalation clause go. Number 6 then would be a shorter timeline. So again, in my introductory calls with clients, for buyer clients, I always, have you spoke to your mortgage broker, get that letter, but also see how fast they can turn the mortgage around. If we put an application in on Sunday night and we get it approved, can they get it done by Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday? The quicker that we can get those conditions, the less risk that the seller is going to have, especially if a property has just been new on the market. The property is new on the market. They want to make sure that there's some time for it to breathe, hit all the affiliate links, and really get that marketing, right? So if we can shorten up that timeline, the sellers might not lose that momentum, right? Because it goes pending on a Sunday, the conditions are for Thursday, Friday, they're, potentially could relist for the weekend, or really try to think of it in a way of how we can make it a win-win. I want to win as the buyer because I want the sellers to pick my offer, but I realize that I want the sellers to win. So how can I make this a win-win for the sellers? And shortening that timeline and those condition periods is something that I think is definitely a thing that we can put in our offers to help us win, because it's less risk for the sellers. If we have a financing condition and we can get a 3 to 5 day turnaround on that, we can state that in our offer, how this is going to be the best offer for them, because we are offering less risk with having a shorter timeline. I've even seen some as well. They pre-book the inspections. So they put the offer in and book. So, hey, I know I only got a 4-day window on here. I've already booked my inspection. So our inspection is going to be at this time. So this is how we're presenting our offer to have that shortened timeline. And another one, number 7, is be ready to act fast. Be ready to act fast. Again, gone are the days really of property tours. A property comes on, we got to go because it's going to be in multiple offers. There's no seeing property A, property B, property C. Those days are slowing down, and it's a property came on, let's go see it. A property came on, let's go see it, which means we have to act fast. Which means if you are looking to buy, we need to make sure that you are prepared and that you understand what's happening. We're getting those mortgage pre-approval letters. We're knowing what you're pre-qualified for. We know how tight of a timeline it is, because again, as the realtor, I'm setting up the contract for everybody else to play. So I need to know that I'm playing within the rules of your mortgage broker. I need to make sure that I'm playing within the rules of the lawyer, because I'm setting up the contract for everybody else to make sure that they're all working within that timelines. So if we're saying, yes, your mortgage broker is going to be able to done it in 4 or 5 days, but you haven't actually spoke to your mortgage broker, I'm setting your mortgage broker up to lose. I'm not setting him up to win. And we want to make sure that it's less stressful and that it's, we're setting you up to win that house, because buying property is definitely an emotional thing. Number 8 is proof of funds. So if you have a large down payment, or you're putting a large deposit down, or even a cash, if you could send a picture potentially of what that, money order is, or a bank draft or something like that, to show the proof of funds. Again, how are we limiting the risk for the sellers? We want them to pick our offer. So we need to put our highest and best foot forward. And we need to make sure that if we are lowering the risk, so that seller knows that they pick our offer, they are getting a sure thing. That property is going to be sold. It is sure. There's not much risk if you pick our offer, right? We want to make sure that we're thinking like that, because that's what the seller's thinking. I want the clean offer, less risk. So if you are having a large down payment, paying a cash, a proof of funds definitely help alleviate what that is for the seller's potential. Again, so I'm going to say 9 is work with an experienced realtor. Interview your realtor. It is possible to interview your realtor, making sure that you are working with one who has done multiple offers, is able to discuss some options with you, I think is super important because it's a multiple offer situation. And it does take some experience to know to utilize these things. And I really think too, I know it's unrealistic to think that I'm going to win every offer because it's just not going to happen. You aren't going to win every offer, but to know that you have went with your best foot forward, I think is great. Because if you can feel comfortable with your offer and that it's something that you're willing to pay, because I do know, and I've heard in the Calgary market, when it was really heated, people would do 10, 20, 30, $40,000 over list price. And then the next day they'd get buyer's remorse. And I want to make sure that I'm not doing that. There was a lot of missed, closes. They're going pending because they got the highest offer and then they walked away. And I don't want to run my business that way. I don't think it's a very good way to run the business. You want to win. Yes, of course. But you don't want to win at the stake of your tomorrow, right? I don't want to have buyer's remorse. So you really need to take a minute to take a deep breath and think, okay, is this what I'm comfortable with? If I win, am I going to regret my choice? And if I lose, am I going to regret? Am I putting my best foot forward? Because that's super important in regards to working with an experienced realtor and really being able to emotionalize that process. And number 10, I think that is super important, is to be prepared to walk away. Be prepared to stick to your maximum price and stick to it. Don't oversell what you want because you're in the emotionality of that multiple offer situation. Talk to your realtor, interview your realtor, make sure that before you even go start looking at houses, you are really processing what that looks like, what the process looks like, because it's an emotional thing to be a part of an offer, and you really don't want to get outside your comfort zone and step into something that is too much for you financially. So being super mindful of that and being prepared to walk away if you think that it's going to be in multiple offers, so 26, 40 offers on one property, say, if you're in that situation, potentially could go 10, 15, $20,000 over. And we need to make sure that we're sticking with what you want so that you have the opportunity and you're not overextending yourself financially, because in the end, we want, are you working for your house? Or are you working for life? Things that you need to consider when you're purchasing and being in a multiple offer situation. So definitely something to think about in regards to the process, because you only have the one chance to make a first impression, right? So in a multiple offer process, the seller is going to look at all the offers, usually at one time, and then they're going to pick the one offer that they like the most. There's offer A and offer B. How are we going to get the seller to pick offer or whatever, our offer over the other? They're going to look at A and B, which one's better, right? We only have one time for the seller to look at our offer and make sure that they pick ours. So again, just to reiterate and go over, went over 10 things. Number 1 is get pre-approved and get financially prepared. 2, offer a strong price. 3, make it a clean offer. 4, include the personal touch. 5, consider an escalation clause. 6, shorten the timeline. 7, be ready to act fast. 8, show proof of funds. 9, work with an expired realtor. And 10, be ready to walk away. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you found today's insights helpful. If you are interested in learning more, or if you're ready to make your next steps in the real estate journey, we at Masterful Moves Realty Group are here to serve you. If it's 4 days, 4 months, or 4 years, it's never too early to connect. Just visit our website at masterfulmovesrealtygroup.com. And remember, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who you might find useful, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you have won in a multiple offer situation, put it in the comments below. Let's hear which tactics that help you win so that we can help our watchers make sure that we can have the best foot forward if and when they are in a multiple offer situation. So thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.